After you establish where you want your plant to go, and before you begin digging, you need to take a close look at the plant's root ball. The size of the plant's root ball will determine how wide and how deep to dig the hole. Most recommend to dig a hole 2 to 3 times the width of the root ball. For this root ball, measuring 12 inches across, we would want to dig a hole at least 24 to 36 inches wide. Dig the hole to the depth of the root ball and no deeper to assure the roots will be level with the soil surface. You want a solid base for the plant you are establishing. If you dig down too deep, you will have the plant sitting on loose soil that can cause settling after planting and the plant becoming too deep. You want the plant sitting on a nice solid base, level with the ground. Now we need to face the plant. Facing means taking the best side of the plant. Generally, it is the side that has lower branching or a nice slope or tapering of the foliage up to the top. That's its best side. For container-grown plants, tap around the container to remove it from the root ball. Before planting, inspect the health of the root system. A healthy root system will have light white to creamy colored roots. Container plants often have root-bound systems where you can see the roots circling around the plant. You want to loosen and tease those roots apart. If it's a balled and burlap plant, you will need to remove the wire, strings, and burlap from at least the top third of the ball. It is ideal to remove these materials completely, but simply it's not possible to do so with large material. One of the most important steps is making sure you do not plant the tree or shrub too deep. The root ball is level with the ground, or in some cases a little higher. You should be able to see the flare of the main trunk moving into the root ball, and the flare should be level with the ground to achieve the correct installation height. Fertilizer is not necessary at the time of planting. However, if you decide to fertilize, choose a slow-release fertilizer to reduce injury to plant roots. Begin adding your backfill to about half the depth of the root ball, then go back and firm this backfill to eliminate air pockets. Now finish off filling in the backfill and pack the soil nice and tight against the root ball to avoid the addition of air pockets. Especially if plants are not serviced by an irrigation system, you may want to create a water ring or wall so when you water, the water is directed down to the newly planted root ball versus draining away and being wasted. Build the moat at the outer edge of the planting hole. If a water ring is used, it must be removed after plant establishment to prevent roots from being buried too deep. Right after planting, it is important to water the plant 2 to 3 times in a row. After you fill the moat the first time, allow the water to drain through the soil, then immediately fill the moat again. This gets the water moving down and through the backfill and helps get rid of any small air pockets that might have been created in the planting process. Guy wires used for support are usually not needed unless you have plant material with a dense canopy that could cause the plant to topple in high winds. If needed, guy wires should be installed at equal distances around the tree and at a height to create a 45-degree angle. Don't over-tighten the wires because the tree needs some movement to establish a strong trunk and root system. Mark the wires with flagging tape for safety and remove all wires as soon as the tree is established. The last step is applying 2 to 3 inches of mulch. Mulch will help to keep your moisture in and weeds down. Taper the layer of mulch to a thin layer when nearing the trunk to minimize the potential for rot or diseases. In the South, fall is a good time for planting. The roots like the cooler weather and don't have to deal with stressful heat and drought conditions. Planting in September or October gives you at least 60 days of good root growing conditions before the ground freezes. You're ahead of the game by planting in the fall with an established root system ready for spring growth. Taking the time and making the effort to correctly install your trees and shrubs will result in a long-living, healthy, and beautiful landscape.